The adorable moment 5-year-old schoolboy, Luke, refuses to let go of the princess Meghan watches on in delight after the royal couple touched down in front of crowds in Dubbo. This is the touching moment. Emotions spilled over as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex touched down in the drought-stricken town of Dubbo in northwestern New South Wales, waiting patiently while Prince Harry and Meghan Markle greeted throngs of schoolchildren waving flags and holding welcome messages. One young boy waiting at the very end of the line threw himself on the royal couple when his turn came. Luke Vincent, a 5-year-old in kindergarten at Buninyong Public School, was overjoyed to meet Harry and Meghan. The youngster even managed to stroke Harry's beard, stealing the show after the royal couple shook hands with every single student on the tarmac. Luke's favorite person is reportedly Santa Claus, which explains why he was so fascinated with the prince's beard. Forecast train held off while the children jumped up and down with anticipation, cheering as the couple came down the steps from their RAF jet. Despite running behind schedule, Harry and Meghan took their time with the local school kids, the prince bouncing around energetically and Meghan spending much of her time kneeling in front of the children. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex arrived in the regional city of Dubbo for the second full day of their Australian tour. Meghan was dressed wearing Australian Outland jeans, a Maison Kitsune shirt, J.Crew boots and a Serena Williams collection jacket. Her necklace is by Aussie designer Natalie Marie. Prince Harry was wearing a blue shirt and trousers as the pair stepped off a Royal Australian Air Force plane at Dubbo's airport on Wednesday morning after flying in from Sydney. The royal couple had boarded the flight holding the Akubra hats which had been gifted to them by the Governor-General of Australia and his wife a day earlier, but they were not carrying them when they disembarked. The pair shook hands with local dignitaries, as excited schoolchildren watched on. The youngsters then had the chance to meet the pair. Prince Harry and Meghan have another packed day of engagements ahead of them, with the royal couple starting by meeting the mayor of the city in central West New South Wales, as well as local schoolchildren. They were expected to be met by stormy weather on their arrival, with a 90% chance of rain forecast for Dubbo, but the rain, which drought-stricken farmers the couple are meeting with are hopeful for, has so far held off. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are showing their support for farming families affected by one of Australia's worst-ever droughts while in Dubbo. The farming region has been blighted by temperatures in excess of 45°C, leading to the death of thousands of cattle, loss of livelihood and severe food shortages. Some areas have experienced the driest spell since records began in 1900. Prince Harry and Meghan visited the Royal Flying Doctor Service after their arrival to learn more about the life-saving role the aviation service provides for people living in rural areas. They attended the naming, dedication and unveiling of a new aircraft as part of the service's 90th birthday celebrations. Among those they met there was Marcus Wilson, manager of RFDS Broken Hill, who is competing in the Invictus Games Sydney 2018. Later the couple will see firsthand the hardships local farmers are facing by visiting a local property. The Duke and Duchess will meet the Woodley family, who have operated a mixed sheep, cattle and cropping enterprise over 5 generations since 1887. Scott and Elaine Woodley, who farm full-time alongside their 23-year-old daughter Laura, will take their Royal Highnesses on a short tour of the farm, including to the paddock where the Duke and Duchess will have an opportunity to help feed the cattle. The family will explain how they have adapted to the drought, before inviting Harry and Meghan for morning tea at the homestead with their family. More than 10,000 people are later set to turn out for a picnic in Dubbo's Victoria Park to celebrate community spirit within the region. People have been traveling from around the region to attend the event and there is not single hotel room left in the town, according to local reports. Harry and Meghan will visit a number of stalls to meet individuals and groups from the community, including representatives from Team Rubicon, Drought Angels, and Headspace. The prince is expected to say a few words. Before they leave, the royal couple will visit 2 local schools. At one they will to learn more about its work to improve the life skills, self-esteem, and employment prospects of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders young men. And the second will see them learn more about efforts to reduce the barriers preventing Indigenous girls from completing their education and reaching their full potential. The visit to Dubbo is part of a jam-packed schedule of 76 engagements across 16 days, with the royals visiting Sydney, Melbourne and Queensland's Fraser Island, Fiji, Tonga and New Zealand on their first overseas tour since they were married. The couple's first full day in Australia on Tuesday started with an official welcome at Admiralty House, the Sydney residence of the Governor-General of Australia. The pair were each presented with a Cobra hats, and they were also given a pair of baby Ugg boots and a plush kangaroo and baby Joey. Kensington Palace had announced on Monday afternoon Prince Harry and Meghan were expected their first child in the 2019 Northern Hemisphere spring. "Our first baby gift," a beaming Meghan said when receiving the soft kangaroo and baby Joey. The Duke and Duchess then headed to nearby Taronga Zoo, where they officially the new Taronga Institute of Science and Learning, and meet the local wildlife, including a koala. From there, they traveled by boat to the Sydney Opera House to meet with hundreds of well-wishers just before midday. Inside the building, Meghan and Harry watched a rehearsal of Spirit 2018 by the Bhangra Dance Theatre, an internationally acclaimed Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander modern dance company. They later headed back to Admiralty House for an official function. Meghan mingled with guests at the get-together in Admiralty House, shortly after Prince Harry gave a speech thanking Australia for their hospitality and his excitement at being back in the country. Following the Dubbo visit, the couple will head to Melbourne. In the Victorian city, they will visit a beach, a local school and government house, with a tram ride also included on their itinerary. The pair arrive back in Sydney the next day and head to Bondi Beach, before Prince Harry climbs the Sydney Harbour Bridge to raise the Invictus Games flag. On Saturday and Sunday, they will attend a number of Invictus Games events. Fraser Island is next on the itinerary, before it's back to Sydney for the closing ceremony of the Games. It is then on to Fiji and Tonga, later followed by a visit to New Zealand.